Welcome back to the CS Podcast. I am your host, Chris Shanafel, and I am now joined by Chicago Bears tight end, Zach Miller. Thanks for joining the show, Zach. How's it going, man?
Everything is going well. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine, and I just want to start off by asking you, how many times do you receive tweets on Twitter by people who think you're the other Zach Miller, the tight end for the Seattle Seahawks? I'm sure you received some tweets last night during Super Bowl 48. Am I wrong?
You are very correct. That happens on a daily basis.
Well, what do you say to those people? Do you give any response? I gotta think it gets pretty old pretty quick.
It's not bad. Sometimes I mess with them. And I'll tell them, listen, you got the other guy, or check my bio, or whatever. I actually have a who's on Twitter, and I've been messing with him a little bit, and I kind of made him my, designated other Zach Miller notification guy. So anytime something happens, I retweet him, and he's like, listen, you got this all wrong. So we kind of mess around with some Twitter people.
Well, Zach, I want to, talk a little bit about your football career. I know that you attended University of Nebraska, Omaha. Can you just tell us, how your overall college experience there was?
College was great. I actually started off my career at Nebraska. I walked on there for 2 years, and we had a coaching change. It just really wasn't going to fit my style of play, so I ended up transferring to Nebraska. Was a starting quarterback there for 4 years, and then had a great time. A lot of good teammates, a lot of good teams, made some runs, but unfortunately we always fell short in the playoffs, and then from there, switched positions and ended up getting drafted by the Jaguars in the 6th round, so kind of made the transition to tight end, and here I am.
Now you say you played quarterback in college, and of course now you are a tight end. How tough of a transition was that to go from playing quarterback to be the guy that's blocking for the quarterback, to be the guy catching the football from the quarterback?
Yeah, it was tough. My quarterback background helped me as far as coverage-wise and things like that, reading fronts. But the physical part, that transition was the most difficult. Kind of being in there blocking. They didn't ask me to do a ton early on in line. I was going to be more the move guy, come out of the backfield, split out, all that stuff. So about my 3rd year, I felt like I had made that step. Like I had made that transition, and I felt comfortable doing basically anything I needed to do for that position. And so now, I'm a tight end. I'm a tight end with the quarterback background, but I feel like I've made the transition well, and now I'm just ready to showcase my skills. I got to stay healthy to do it.
Zach, when was it when you knew that the NFL may not only be a dream, but it could become a reality?
I want to say probably my junior year. I started to draw a little bit of interest with teams calling or coming to check out here or there, and then when at the start of my senior year, there were scouts in and out every other weekend. So at that point, I knew that it might be possible. It had always been a dream, like you said. But I'd say it started my junior year, and then really my senior year got in full motion, and I thought, okay, I can really make a run at this.
And like you said, in the 6th round of the 2009 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Zach Miller, tight end out of Nebraska, Omaha. Can you tell us what that moment was like for you to finally be drafted into the NFL?
Oh, it was great. Having just had a couple people over, family, close friends, they just sitting at the house waiting. And I actually got the call from Jake Peete, who was a teammate of mine at Nebraska. He was in he was working with the front office, Jaguars at that time. And so he had called me and kind of played a little joke on me. He's like, hey, listen, obviously we're interested in you. Just, stay close. We'll see what we can come up with here, within the next round or two. And if not, we want you for free agency. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. He's like, hey, Zach, I'm just messing with you, and you remember the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then we just all went crazy.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, looking back, I see during your rookie year in Jacksonville, you recorded 21 receptions for over 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, is there any chance you could tell us about that very first touchdown reception that you brought in?
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday, man. I'll never forget that. That was actually, last game of the season against the Browns. It was freezing cold. It might have been like probably -8 wind chill. It was just a little 6-yard stick nod in the back of the end zone. Great feeling. Just a little double move. David Garrard threw it up in the back of the end zone, so it was a good time. We lost that game, but for me to get my first career touchdown, obviously, is a special feeling. So,
you know, it's funny you said it was freezing cold. It was about -8 wind chill. I take it you weren't in Chicago last week when we had the negative, 35, -40 wind chill, were you, Zach?
No. I'm currently in Nebraska.
All right.
It's cold here, but we don't. It's not as cold as it is in Chicago.
All right. Just had to make sure. And Zach, looking at the 2010 season, I see you started 5 of the 15 games that you played in with the Jacksonville Jaguars that season. What was it like to get a handful of starts that year? I mean, I got to think you do feel that you could become a starting tight end sometime, somewhere in the NFL, whether or not it's in Chicago. But time will tell, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to get the start. I felt, as I made that transition, I was kind of a mismatch guy. I could come out of the backfield. I started to learn how to block out of the backfield. I started to be comfortable running out of the slot. I mean, that's really how I started. I was kind of a move-around type H-back, wide receiver, doing it all. And as I got more comfortable, started making more plays, getting more opportunities, and then I battled a couple injuries, so I can get back into the swing of things and stay healthy. I feel like I can produce. I know I can produce. I've already proved that. I just got to stay healthy enough to do it. I'm super happy, very blessed to be a member of the Bears. I think we got a great offense. Obviously, we have a great tight end in Martellus Bennett. I don't know him personally yet, but I followed his career. I watched what he did last year, and I know he's quite the interviewee. I've been keeping tabs on him all week, so he seems like an interesting fella.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to be talking about your, Chicago in just a moment, but can you just tell us, after a couple of years, being injured with the Jaguars, they decided to, part ways with you. What was that like to, get the bad news and then, just have to start over in a new place, in a new setting in Tampa Bay, just last season?
That whole thing was different because Gene Smith was general manager at that time, and I was one of Gene's guys, and he really didn't want to let me go. So his plan was, okay, listen, we're going to do this. I'm going to release you because I need 3 healthy tight ends. I got to bring someone else in. What's going to happen is you're going to revert back to IR. So you're still going to be a member of the team. You're going to be in our injured reserve, whatnot, and then as soon as the season ends, I want to re-sign you. So it was a weird kind of transition because, I knew in my back pocket that the Jags wanted to re-sign me. And if that, if nothing else happened, that would be, a complete possibility. And then he called me the last day of that season to talk contract, and he ended up getting fired the next day. So I kind of had to move on. In that time, I had workouts with other teams, Miami. The Giants wanted to work me out. San Diego, and obviously Tampa. I don't think I really made the right decision. I kind of rushed into it. I had workouts set up at the end of that week, and with my agent at that time was Drew Rosenhaus. And we just felt at the time, he was like, listen, I think Tampa's the best fit. Looking back at it, I think we kind of rushed it. Could have played some things out differently. I mean, I never even got to meet that staff before I signed with them. And it just kind of was a poor decision on my part, but luckily I get another opportunity with Chicago Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. And final question, then we'll move on to Chicago. Zach, I promise you, I'm really looking forward to that. But, you know, you said you feel you might have made the wrong decision by signing with Tampa Bay. You're released in August, so you weren't able to play with the team this past season. What were a few things you were doing, though, to better your game during your time off?
Oh, man, I worked out every day. I was with another player where we were running routes, doing things. I was staying in football shape, just staying ready. I actually went up to New Jersey and worked out with my trainer that I had trained with coming out of college to prepare me for the NFL. So I went up there for 2 weeks, trained with him, and just kind of got back into what I know. You know, I said I'm going to rewind the clock, just start over, just go from the basics, get me I worked out with a coach out there that was going through all my individual drills, blocking. You know, the whole thing to keep me ready to play football. I would have been ready at the drop of a hat. So I was just staying ready every week.
Zach, looking back at your NFL career so far, what do you think has been the biggest or most memorable play that you've made?
There's been a couple that stick out in my mind. We had I think one is playing the Texans. I got matched up on Brian Cushing one-on-one. When I ran a little option route and ended up taking, I think I set the record for the longest completion by tight end in Jacksonville history. So that kind of sticks out. I ended up being caught though, which I'm not too happy about, but the dude who caught me was Bryce McCain, and he runs like a 4.2, so he ended up pulling me down at like the 8-yard line. Other than that, I got one other play we played against Tennessee that not a super big play. Most people would look at it and be like, why is he remembering that? But I was actually split out, and we were running a bubble screen, and the slot was running the bubble, and they blitzed. And it was Cortland Finnegan was coming. He was about to blow that play up, and I caught him just right and just planted him. And I think that kind of sticks in my head a lot.
Is that because of the type of player Cortland Finnegan is? He's one of those, getting in your face type of players.
Yeah, it was. I got a good stick on him, so I think that's part of it. Just because Cortland's an outspoken guy, and he likes to have fun out there and play. So if I can return the favor and kind of lay a good hit on him, then we had fun.
That's awesome. Chris Shanfeld talking with Chicago Bears tight end Zach Miller here on the CS Podcast. And Zach, on December 30th, 2013, you signed with the Chicago Bears after they finished the season 8-8 with a heartbreaking loss to the Green Bay Packers, man. What does Zach Miller bring to the Chicago Bears?
Say that again?
What does Zach Miller bring to the Chicago Bears?
What do I bring to the Chicago Bears?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. In my mind, I think a lot. Mismatch. The thing about my career has just been, there's been a couple untimely injuries. When I was in Jacksonville, what I offered to an offensive was to be able to move in multiple positions. Like I said earlier, playing in the slot, playing in line in a wing, playing in line, playing in the backfield, playing split out. I even ran wildcat packages early on. So there was just a lot that I could offer an offensive corner. He can move me around. He can now manipulate coverages. He can manipulate packages. Are they going to play us nickel? Are they going to play us base personnel? So all those things, as an offensive standpoint, I think would help us. But then again, I think I offer a playmaking ability from the position. Obviously, I can run a little bit, stretch the field. So I think if I can stay healthy, and which I plan on doing, help out our offense. Doesn't need a lot with all the talent we got, but if I could offer just another option, hopefully it'll all work out.
Absolutely. And talking a little bit about that talent, like you mentioned, last season we signed a very talented tight end in Martellus Bennett, and he made some huge plays for us. We have a nice young tight end with a ton of potential, I feel, in Fendi Anaban. How excited are you to team up with these guys and, just to get back on the football field?
I'm super excited. Obviously, I told you I followed Martellus. I know what type of guy he is on the football field. I actually had an opportunity to link up with Fendi in Jacksonville when I was on my way out. He came in and was on the practice squad, so I was familiar with him. I got a chance to speak to him when I was actually in Chicago to sign my contract. So I think right now we got a very good group. If we can just come together and utilize all the weapons that we have, it'll be very dangerous.
Just a couple more questions for you, Zach, then I'll let you go. I really do appreciate your time, man. And my next question for you is, I know you're on offense, but during your time in Jacksonville, Mel Tucker was the Jaguars' defensive coordinator. He's, of course, now the defensive coordinator here in Chicago. Did he have any impact on you coming to Chicago?
First of all, Coach Tuck, that's my guy. I love that man. He's a great coach. He's twice the person. As far as, I don't know if he had any say in, talking with Mr. Phil Emery. I don't know what those guys had going, but I hope, that Mel was like, listen, I've been with him for 4 years. I've tried to defend him in practice every day because Mel was always in my corner when I was in Jacksonville. And I'm super appreciative of that for him or from him. But, he's a great guy. I'm happy that I get to link back up with him and be together again. So I think I hope, and I would probably say that he had a little bit to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I gotta say that's certainly great to hear that you have his back. It certainly sounds like he has yours. I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts on the Chicago Bears offensive coaches? The head coach Mark Trestman, he's entering his second year, and then we also have Aaron Kromer as offensive coordinator. What are your thoughts on those guys?
Very, very creative. Offensive-minded guys that just like to keep things open. I'm very happy to be a part of what they're going to put on the football field. So, like I said, the ones they have right now, their options are endless. You got two freaks on the outside. You put Martellus in the middle. Obviously, with the guy pulling the trigger like Jay Cutler, and then the stable of running backs they have with Forte and guys like that. He has a lot of options, a lot of firepower, at will. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and hopefully we can put everything together and I can fit into that plan somewhere.
Last question for you, Zach. What are your personal expectations for the 2014-2015 NFL season?
I don't have a set number. I'm not a numbers guy. My goal is, one, stay healthy. And I don't think about it. It's just something I need to do. I've had, the bad breaks have come, and, I can't control that. So, I guess my goal is just to contribute. I can. I was a special teams guy when I was in Jacksonville. I was doing it all. I was running around on special teams. I was making catches, getting handoffs on reverses. So, I guess I just want to contribute and make our football team better any which way I can. So, I guess that's my number one goal.
Hey, that sounds great. Zach, welcome to Chicago, man. I know Bears fans are definitely excited to have you out here. I'm happy to have you out here, and I got to say thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to say to myself and our listeners?
I just want to thank you guys, for the warm welcome to Chicago. I can't wait to get there and get to work. We'll keep communicating on Twitter. I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and all the love from the Bears family. So, with that said, I appreciate everything and look forward to more.
Hey, thanks again, Zach, and keep in touch and take care. All right, man.
Will do. You do the same.